Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us this morning on a chilly morning here in Charlottesville, Virginia, but that's just another reason to settle down into your cozy spot, grab your café con leche, and watch some Today y Mañana.
And while you're at it, you can like, share, subscribe, anything you want, all three.
You can do all three of them at the same time.
You do all three at the same time.
Send us any comments, questions, and so forth. Already got some people, wow, this is fast. Already got some people liking the show this morning. Joanne Baxter, thanks for watching the show this morning. Megan Smith, thanks for liking the show this morning. So we've got...
They liked our radio voice, that's what it was.
That's what it is. They're like...
then we come on, it's like,
faster than usual. That's faster than usual. They must have been like, I don't see them this time. This is better than ever. So thanks for joining us this morning. We've got an exciting show in store for you this morning. We're going to be joined very shortly by Rob Campbell. He's the general manager at Castle Hill Cider. Just talk about some fun happenings going on up at Castle Hill, as well as some awards. I feel like it's not the first time.
No, absolutely, no, that's good.
Some awards at Castle Hill, which is not surprising.
For good reason.
For good reason, exactly. For fantastic reasons. Elizabeth Urpí, watching the show this morning. Thanks for tuning in. So, how you doing, Xavier?
I'm doing fantastic. As you know, I just love Thursday mornings for this reason. That the energy, the adrenaline, really just comes flowing early in the morning on Thursdays. So that's wonderful.
That's what we like to hear.
It feels good.
That's
and then plus the view right now of what I'm seeing is even more.
Exactly. The audience will see it shortly, but we have three different bottles of Castle Hill here. So Xavier's view is looking.
As I say, stay thirsty, my friend. Right? Remember that commercial? Stay thirsty.
the old.
The Dos Equis, was it
the old Dos Equis commercial with the most interesting man in the world, which is, I guess, like you.
There you are. See,
you could probably have pulled that off. You have a similar, because he had that kind of like Latino, but like old-fashioned Spanishy look. You could pull that off.
Thank you.
Pull that off,
you think I could, but
I think he was. I think he was like
I don't
Hispanic
know.
or something.
I'm not. He sounded.
There we go. See, Nick would know. Nicholas Urpí is here in the audience with us. He's our live audience today. He would know that.
I remember he once talked about that, and he said that he really wasn't Hispanic, but he sounded, and looked it almost. So it was really good.
He was basing it off his Hispanic friend.
Those are some of the better commercials, I have to admit.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Love being here with you. Love being here on the I Love CVille Network set. Just a couple thanks, of course. We love being presented by Emergent Financial Services and powered by, of course, Castle Hill Cider, by our friends Chick and Miguel at Craddock Serious Insurance, by the Gym CVille. Don't forget February 4th, their Health and Wellness Expo. There's still time to sign up. And I think you can just go to that. I don't think there's a cost for that one. Because the Luke Edwards seminar, you can still sign up for that as well. That one has a small cost associated, but well worth it. Doing what you can learn from him.
Especially,
and what he's been through. But Health and Wellness Expo starting at 10 a.m. on February 4th, so be sure to check that out from our friends at the Gym CVille. And of course, Aqua CVille Hand Car Wash, and for Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville, Virginia. So got a lot in store today. I'm excited to get started.
Oh, me too. I can't wait.
Alrighty, so we are very happy to welcome back to the show this morning our friend Rob Campbell. He is the general manager at Castle Hill Cider. Rob, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Rob.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. You guys mentioned earlier, you guys were talking about hot chocolate. So I have a question. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this on the show.
Yeah, you can ask.
What's your favorite hot chocolate in Charlottesville?
Gear Hearts.
I think that's
that's my favorite one.
Yeah. So then I thought that's what you might say. So we're actually doing a promotion with Gear Hearts for Valentine's Day. We're actually doing a pairing for their chocolates with our ciders. It is by far one of my favorite times of the year. I mean, the fat boy in me just says, "Woo!" and perks up a little bit when this happens. But I was actually kind of skeptical at first when we started doing it, because I didn't realize that you could actually pair those things. And the first time I did it, he knocks it out of the park every time. And so we'll be doing 4 of our favorite ciders with 4 of their favorite chocolates. And so come out and see us for Valentine's Day for that.
Valentine's Day.
Because Gear Hearts happens to be is my favorite hot chocolate. Splendora would probably be would have been my second favorite. But they've kind of moved away
Right,
a little
exactly,
bit, but
exactly, yeah.
but Gearhartz is definitely the
Yes.
favorite. But I didn't mean to hijack the
Oh,
show.
no, listen, talk about chocolate. That's not hijacking.
Let's talk about chocolate
That's dear here too.
and cider.
That's my vice, chocolate, you know.
And what a beautiful way to spend Valentine's Day
absolutely,
as well.
yeah.
Exactly. So you can come out, get a nice pairing, and we'll walk you through it. Actually, not really walk you through it. See, I hit the mic.
There you are. See, I have company.
But no, it's a great way. We have a guided flight that you can come with your significant other and check us out.
Terrific.
That's amazing. Speaking of that, because
So is that February 14th itself?
It'll be that weekend. So February
Okay.
14th is a Tuesday, so we'll be starting it probably
11th
that
and 12th?
Friday before.
Okay.
Because that's when most people will celebrate.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we'll be doing. Then we actually the next Friday, the 17th, we have a wine and cider pairing with. We're still finalizing the participants, but it'll definitely be Stephen Barnard at Keswick, us, and there's probably 4 other wineries that are involved.
Yep.
So we're really packing it into Valentine's Day. We believe in love out of Castle Hill. You know, I see the I Love CVille. I'm going to throw that in
There you are.
as well. So it's definitely a good way to spend the week with us.
Oh,
Absolutely.
'Cause,
Yeah.
well, you did the bubbly of the cider, right? You got your chocolate, all things that you associate with Valentine's Day.
That's right.
You know, and I'm sure they'll have you guys have those fires that go, and then you got the beautiful,
It's so nice.
the views from out there. It's just got to be special.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Something to think about.
Speaking of that with the pairing, it's something I've meant to. It's not even on my question list, but something I've meant always to ask sometimes, because I know I know people associate certain things paired with apple.
Yes.
Right. And like you said, sometimes chocolate isn't the first thing that comes to mind, right? Because orange and apple and
Yes.
so forth. And what are some of the other things that over the years you've seen people sort of like pair with Castle, or you yourself would pair with Castle cider to be like, you wouldn't immediately think of it, but this is a great pairing that people should kind of think about or maybe consider having some Castle cider with it?
Yeah, we actually talk about that a lot because people talk, and I'm going to channel my inner Don Whitaker right now. He's much better at this stuff than I am. But Don, it always goes back to you can pair with cold pizza. It just depends on what your flavor palette is overall. But I would say ginger is probably one of my favorite. We do the OG with the ginger and apple is probably one of my favorite pairings. But I'll get back to you on that one.
But you know what's interesting?
Totally
so for example,
I
I know in northern Spain, they have the Cider, right, which is apple-based cider, almost like a champagne kind of thing, and they drink that literally with meals.
Yes.
So the northern area in Spain that's known for the Cider is also known for their fish. So when they have a fish meal, and you look at the menu of drinks, Cider's there, and if you have it, it goes so well with fish. So
yeah, I think you were talking about Cidra, and you were saying, and this is actually a new offering that they're actually bottling today. That's why Don couldn't make it, and it's our 0 proof, so it has no alcohol in it.
Oh, fantastic!
So it's a sparkling apple juice.
Yeah.
We found that there was definitely a market for it of people coming out that wanted something that was non-alcoholic. Me, I like to ferment my stuff and create alcohol. That's just my personal opinion, but this is a sparkling apple juice that we just came out with. And you were talking about the Cidra.
Yeah.
That some of it is very low alcohol, but
Exactly.
high.
Exactly.
So this is almost like a Cidra.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so, this is delicious. This is very, very good.
And I like it because it has that little tinkle on your tongue. Or
Exactly.
maybe that's just me.
Oh, it
Exactly.
does.
Well, and that's what it is. And so I think it's that little tingle in the tongue, right? That when you're having a meal, especially
Really
a
brings
fish
it
meal,
out.
it's not a steak, but a fish meal where you just need something just to cover that mouth and get ready for the next bite full of shrimp or scallops, whatever.
Oh, I like that. It wants to be a palate cleanser, even though you wouldn't think that from a higher sugar content.
So they do that a lot, and certainly also they have it with desserts many times. Like in Christmas Eve, they have the cidras and they have the turrones, the different cookies, whatever. So it blends well with both in reality.
Yes.
And with cheese frequently, because up in
cheese?
the northern reaches of Spain, they're known for the blue cheeses.
The blue cheeses, yeah.
That's my weakness. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That's probably good.
I keep saying everything's my weakness. That's not a good thing.
But blue cheese, I love another blue cheese enthusiast. Let's just put it that way.
Probably their port style.
Oh, yes, the Sunday Muse.
Yes.
Sunday Muse. That would go really good with blue cheese, right?
Blue cheese or any strong, flavorful cheese.
Yeah.
You cut it with the sweetness, and it brings out what the beauty of a nice strong cheese is. It brings out in a port or a Sunday Muse. It brings out the sweetness, even though you're drinking. I mean, the Sunday Muse has a little sweetness to it, right? But the beauty is when you have it with the blue cheese, it just emphasizes that sweetness, even though it's still a nice fortified flavor.
Yeah, and we use it a lot in when we cook pork as well. So it's either braising it or else doing a full marinade with it, and especially the serendipity is a great one to use as a marinade, and it's just. There's just something it does to the meat. It tenderizes it because the acidity, but it also has that little bit of sweetness that you crave in foods.
No,
exactly.
That's a beauty. It's wonderful that you guys are doing this, right? Because I think you are exposing people to something that most people never thought about in the past. It's like apple juice is apple juice, right? And now you've basically shown people that what you can do with apple juice and different flavors, how you compare with food, with chocolate, with cheeses. That's another thing you should do someday. Have 4 or 5 different cheeses, pair it with the different, I mean, the problem with cheese is some people's they love cheese, and then there's the blue cheese. Ooh, I don't think I want to touch that. That's got stuff in it, But
yeah, we actually did a cheese pairing at
we did
at Pot. No, we didn't. We've done a few over the years, but probably one of the best I've had was at we did an industry event for the American Cider Association at Potter's, and we paired some cheeses. And I'm not a big pairing guy with cheeses and things like that. I've never really been gone down that road, but they actually opened my eyes to the blue cheese and be able to cut through it. It's nice to have that. It's the balance, and that's what life's about is the balance. You guys talked about the highs and lows. It's trying to find that balance in the middle. That's where we all thrive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now this will be available. Maybe I'm going to talk to my team right now. Hopefully they're watching. It might be available this Sunday. For Wassail, but it'll take some miracles for that to happen. But I think it'll probably be available the next week. But we do have Wassail this Sunday.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Wassail is an annual event we do. It's basically the blessing of the trees.
Okay.
Don Whitaker, who's the cider maker, loves this event. He'll dress up in costumes.
I knew that was him. If you go on Facebook, you can find, if you type in Wassail 2023 Castle Hill, pops up, and he's leading the way. He's got this big brown robe, and I'm looking at the picture before you came on. I was like, that's Don.
Yes. Well, the best part is not too often do you meet someone who says, I'm just going to go in my closet and pull out a costume. And so that is Don, and that's one of the things I really love about him is that he'll just be like, oh, I got a costume for that. No matter what the event is, he's got something for it. And so he'll lead that, and he'll lead the procession out into our orchards. People will be able to write down their blessings of what they want in the new year, and then we'll just kind of let them go into the wind. And
that's fantastic.
And it'll be amazing.
That's beautiful.
It's one of my favorite events of the year, just because it's intimate, but yet, we have plenty of space if it grows to 300, 400 people. That's what we hope for. But overall, it's one of my favorite events just because it's kind of bringing in the new year the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of times we set these unrealistic expectations and goals for ourselves, but this just is a simple way of just doing a few simple things to say this is how I want to live my life in the new year.
Right.
So it's a great event. Come out and see us. Facebook, you can find it on there. You can also find it on CastleHill.com. I almost said the name of my other business, but CastleHill.com. You can find it on there as well.
Yep.
But come out and see us. It'll be a full day event. So we'll have a king and queen of Wassail. There'll be plenty of things to do, some crown making, some, just everything for both young and old.
Food-wise, even special. I noticed there's going to be some traditional ham pies.
Yes. Yes, those are amazing. I don't think that I even got to eat one last year because they sold out so quickly. So come early, bring your appetites for both cider and for hand pies.
Now, is there a particular time that the blessing occurs?
The full schedule is on is on Facebook.
Okay.
I think they're finalizing all the details today, so I don't want to misspeak.
Oh, they're there. Yeah, we can do it. You can create your own Wasser headdress. That's starting at 12.
Okay.
2 o'clock. You got some music. 2:30. So you want to get there before 2:30 to get your bottle of cider and enter your name to be the king or queen
yes.
Wassel.
There you go.
So
that's a big one.
Yeah. So you have to, if you want to be king or queen, you gotta get there before 2:30 and buy that bottle of cider, and then your name enters in the drawing, and then the procession is 3 p.m.
Okay.
I think Jerry Miller said he's going to be out there to potentially be he wants to be king of Wassel.
Well, he's eventually
for
going to
2023.
Exactly. Well, he's eventually going to be king of something because on the 12:30 show, he's always mentioning the king of Jack Jewett, the queen of this.
I know, I've heard it, so I think he needs to be the king of Wassel.
Jerry's got to be the king of something one of these days.
I know a guy if he wants to come out. I can probably make it happen. So no, that'll be a great event that we're really looking forward to this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. It's always so beautiful out there in the wintertime, and I know people. What are some of the things? So when people come in the winter, because I know you guys have there fire pits, fireplaces, things that people can sort of huddle around in the winter. And
yeah, we have some outside fire pits. I mean, logically, is probably like you probably want to be in the high 40s, 50s before you're going to sit out there. But people sit out. I mean, I've seen people sit out there in 30s, so I'm not going to discourage you. You are free to do what you want once you come on the property. Well, almost anything you want. We're gonna set a few rules, a few ground rules there. But then we also have a fireplace inside the tasting room, and then we have a 10,000 square foot indoor space that we've reset for the winter. So there's plenty of space to stay warm if you want to. You can go out and huddle around the fire pits. It's beautiful out there with a blanket around you. And I mean, we also have hot mulled cider to go with that as well. So that's another thing that can keep you warm, both from a physical standpoint, then it also warms you up with a little bit of alcohol.
Exactly. No, we loved that. We had that at the Today Mañana event at Castle Hill Cider.
That's right, yeah.
In December.
That was
I had myself some of the hot mulled cider, and it is.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I missed you guys that day. I had kid things.
Don't worry about it.
I saw it starting to happen in the barn. I could see it from my window, and I was like, I want to get there. And then I was looking at my watch, and I was like, no, I can just see my daughter's face like crying. Even though that wouldn't happen, that's what happens to my mom.
No, it was a fantastic event.
Absolutely.
It was a beautiful space.
We love having you guys out there.
Great.
Well,
you guys bring great, energetic people out with you as well, and that's the last event I was at with you guys. It was amazing. I mean, just the people were so welcoming, and so I mean, you guys surround yourself with some pretty amazing people.
Happy people.
It's all the show. It's the
absolutely.
It's the passion,
It's that's exactly what it is.
They do, and they love to just come out and share it and meet other people. And,
yes.
And like you guys do collaborations. I mean, you got an event with Gear Hearts. You guys do a number of different collaborations. So they love working with each other and getting to know what others are doing in the community.
It's going to be a fun year. It's
I think so too. Yeah.
This year I think is the rebirth of the world. I think, and so I think everyone's
I'm with
excited
you
to kind of. 2022 was an interesting year. I'm not going to go back and recap, but it was you talked about the highs and lows of the market. It was very similar to that in the cider world in terms of just procurement, in terms of staffing, in terms of all those things. And so I'm looking forward to kind of cleaning the slate, and we've scheduled some amazing things. I could just sit here and rattle off all day all the things we have. I'll do a few of them.
Yeah,
sure, no, please, absolutely. That's what.
So another thing we have is we have a day. I'll start. We're gonna do a kind of a mock. And maybe you guys would like to come out. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. We're gonna do a royal tea. We're gonna start doing that we're gonna do the mock run. I think next weekend if we have all the details together. But basically, there's like high tea there's like 3 different types of tea, and I'm going to get them wrong, and Josephine will kill me for this. But there's basically 3 types of teas. There's the one that's like midday, which is just the common folks where you're just drinking a little tea, and then there's one which is like a high tea, which includes like a little bit of a meal, a little bit of tea, and then royal tea is the one that happens where you actually drink a little bit of alcohol with your tea, and I kind of like the name as well.
I like that royal tea.
I like the royal tea. It sounds best.
Yes. So I
wonder why.
Yeah. So we're gonna start doing that. It'll be a very refined affair for that we're offering. It's just something we saw in the community that wasn't really out there, and we know we have the space to execute it. But it'll be from the things that Josephine's told me that we're going to do, if we pull them all off, it's going to be spectacular. Like it's going to be a day to remember. I've heard you can't hold me to this, but I've heard like caviar. I've heard things that I don't usually eat.
Let me get my pen. Yeah, make sure I tell Josephine this is what he promised.
That's right.
Well, it's on record right now. but we have. But she has curated a great event for that, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that come together. We also have in April we're doing a Days of Rosé festival. I don't know if it's a festival. It's an event. We'll just call it a festival.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that'll be with. I'm gonna get the names of these wrong as well, but I'm gonna go for it. We have like King Family, we have Veritas, we have Keswick, we have Pippin Hill, we have Harmony Wines.
Okay.
Yes, Harmony Wines. We've had him on.
Yes,
as well.
and he's kind of the leader of that event, and so he's the one who's putting together. But the things that they say for that one is they're looking to bring in a DJ for that one. There'll be like an art show. It'll be a thing, especially in the middle of Keswick, to almost have that Art Basel or that Miami type vibe
nice.
Occurring in the middle of Keswick. And so we're looking this year to pair more things with wine in terms of what we do from events. We love the cider world and all of our contemporaries with that. We're just seeing that there's a need for us to kind of step it up in that realm. So we're doing that. Then the event that I'm probably most excited about, because very rarely do you get in your job to be able to give back at the same time that you make money, and it's a very much a give or take relationship. But we're actually partnering with the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank again this year for 231 Fest.
231 Fest.
231,
and so Millie, who we had on last year.
That's right, exactly.
They're great partners, and if we can feed people while we're having fun and while we're making a little money,
that's important.
That's
a win-win, right? That's a win-win. Yeah.
It's a perfect combination. Yeah. It's something that we're very passionate about, because it's about your community, it's about your neighbors.
Yeah.
That really mattered. I know that we're kind of sequestered out in Keswick on a big estate, but we still care about the whole region.
Absolutely.
Out there. So that's probably one that that we're slowly amping up. We'll probably have 10 to 15, probably misquoting this, 10 to 15, I'm going to keep saying that I'm misquoting it, just so that because I know MJ's watching right now. Thank you, MJ. And she'll probably be like, we don't have that, Rob. But we'll have like 10 to 15 alcohol vendors. So it'll be between wine, cider, and beer.
Oh, beautiful.
And then we'll have potentially a distillery as well. The new Foothills South. I'm not going to even try that one. Foothills Distillery.
Distillery.
Yeah. And then, which is Craig Harbin's new distillery out in Barbersville. And then we'll have food trucks. We'll have live music. We're putting all that together.
Wow.
I know it was
that's a
such
nice
a
event.
blast. Everyone who went loved it so much last year. We weren't able to go because a certain person got married that weekend. But it looked like it was such an amazing event, and just people really enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, so that should be an amazing event coming together for the community. Last year, I think they raised close to $17,000.
Nice.
Event. This year, we're hoping to be in the 30s. Millie, if you're watching, we'll get there. But
we'll have you guys back to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So the audience knows that it's coming up.
Yeah, and we're slowly looking for like media partners. for that. So we'll come in and talk to you and give you the pitch on that one.
Absolutely.
But no, we're looking to partner with people in the local community that we respect and that we want to have as part of our brand as well. So it's a great way for us to really start to highlight the great things that are happening out in 231 at the same time that we're really just helping a great organization.
Yeah. Well, you know what's nice? Everything you've just said here, right? I mean, one of the things we always talk about here is the community. What we love about the small businesses, that is, as Alex said before, it's the passion, what they put together, but also their connection to the community. And so we always try to basically tell people, when you can help, I always say, if you help your family first and then the family helps the community, we all do better, right?
Yeah,
and everything you're doing here is bringing that community once again together in a festive way. And I think that's just, that's what you want out of life, being able to have a good time but help at the same time.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely,
good.
Absolutely. A couple of shout outs. Thanks, Kevin Hidgens, for watching this morning. Regina Loves Coffee liked the show this morning. Thank you, Regina. John Blair watching the show this morning. Miranda watching the show this morning. Thank you all so much for joining us and liking and sharing this morning. Really, really appreciate it. Wanted to ask you guys, I know, speaking of just doing things beyond just making cider and making cider the right way. Three different ciders from Castle Hill are all finalists at the 2023 Good Food Awards. Is this one of them?
It is.
It is. So, that we're about to try.
I used my wallet.
You saw
that, yeah.
I forgot to bring. I'm very discombobulated this morning, so I was telling them that I actually forgot to bring. I put my contacts in the wrong eyes to start out the morning, and then I forgot to bring actually product with me, so I was rushing out to Castle Hill to grab the product before I came in. I should tell you that we had our
one of those mornings.
Yeah, we had our holiday party last night, so maybe that has something to do with my.
So maybe when you took the contacts off, you put the right and the left in the left pocket, and then vice versa, maybe.
Exactly. Well, I got to Castle Hill, and I was like, I couldn't read anything on my phone, and I was like, oh my god, I've lost my up close vision now. I was like, life just got a lot harder. But no, this is one of the ones that we are finalists for the Good Foods Award. And Good Foods basically is an award that they give out for the sustainability, basically the way that you make your products, that you're good stewards of the land, that you're using local products, that you're just basically that you're trying your best to put out the best possible products, both from the way you grow it, the way that just the way you source everything, that you're not bringing in things from I was going to say China, but that would be the elephant in the room. So let's say you're not bringing in things from England or wherever. That it's mostly locally sourced things that are organic if you can get there. We're not quite organic, but we have reduced the way that we spray our orchards. The only thing we spray for now is if we have fire blight in the orchards, but there's no other pesticides or anything like that, just because we have bees out there, and we want to make sure that we don't do anything to harm them overall. But it's basically it's a cycle, and so this is just celebrating that we're doing things the right way. So this is dry hopped.
Okay.
So dry hopped, silver bow, and Sunday Muse, which you mentioned earlier, were the ones that are awarded, and Fortunately or fortunately for us, is we sold out of 2 of those ciders. So we will have.
Well, that's fortunate actually, but
yeah, we will have. You guys can go ahead and this is the dry hop.
The aroma just always gets me.
Need me to do the CPR?
He was going to say, I know him. He was going to say something right while
but I was still swallowing.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll talk while you finish choking.
This is really good.
But it's definitely something that we're proud of. We do have the silver bow, should be coming back into stock, and it's in barrel right now. So we've had it in barrel for 3 or 4 months. It really is one of those things that's not an exact science. We say it's between 6 months and a year it spends in barrel. So it really just depends on taste. So that should be coming back. later on this year.
Wonderful.
I keep doing this because that's what it feels like these days in terms of procurement and different things.
Right, exactly. Yes.
But yeah, and then the Sunday Muse, we're still figuring out what we want to do with that. We are making 1764 right now, which is the other port.
Which is also...
I know somebody that likes that.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. My mother
She won't let us drink that.
Like, we're not allowed. We have a bottle of Sunday
yeah.
Muse and a bottle of 1764.
She hides it.
We're
one day I know she
drink Sunday Muse because she loves 1764 so much. We're not allowed to touch it.
Once in a while, I'll come in with something. She goes, "What is that?" And I can tell she's not asking what is it because she wants to taste. She wants to make sure I didn't take
1764.
It's like,
well, I might know a guy that can get you a bottle for your anniversary. But yeah, so we're still deciding, where we're going to go with the ports and pommos. We did just bottle a 5-year pommo that is,
it's out of this world.
Yeah, it's exquisite. I think we probably had you guys taste it.
Yep.
When you were out, but it was it just came out amazing, and then we actually ended up with some extra, and we put it back in barrel. So it's just it's fun.
Wow.
So here's a question for you, right? Because actually, it's a dual question. One, my first question was, who really comes up with these brilliant ideas of changing or making these different types of ciders, if you want to call it that? And second of all is, you get to the point where, this one's good, that one's good, the other one's terrific, that one's also terrific. But you get to a point where it's like, you only have a certain number of apples. So it's like, do you then have to make a decision, do we make less of each, or do we have to drop one or another? How does that work? Or get more apples,
Yeah, it's an iterative process. In 2000 so you basically are making cider from the harvest of the year before. And so the ciders we made this year were from the year before, and we only probably got 350 bushels of apples, and that equals, probably about 700 to 800 gallons of product. Okay. And so if you think about, I'll think about it this way, I'll do simple math. Mm-hmm. A case of cider has 2 gallons of product in it, so that means that we were able to only get like 350 cases.
Okay.
So that's not enough to sustain us. So we actually brought in apples because there's tons of other apple orchards in the state between Glaze and Silver Creek, and Saunders Brothers. There's also Albemarle Cider Works. Mm-hmm. They have their own orchards out there. So we have a network of people that we can turn to grab different apples. And we have at least 25 to 30 different varieties on our property that we're growing right now. So
wow.
So there are. It's basically only limited by your imagination. Some people are starting to go more into the single varietals, so they'll take like Black Twig, which is one of the ones we do in bourbon barrels. But Black Twig is an apple, so some people will just make like a single varietal.
So just one type of apple in the cider.
Yeah, and that some of those turn out really great, but we actually do a lot of blending because it allows us to kind of get it to the specs that we want. And it's not exact, but we can kind of get close in terms of acidity, in terms of sweetness, in terms of ABVs that we want to go for. And there's a lot of other things. I was actually at a cider meeting on Monday, and they were talking about some things. Like the cider maker stuff, and I was like, I didn't want to raise my hand every 3 minutes and be like, "Can you explain that word that you just said?" Because they were all just nodding along, like the chiolate and the acetates. I was like, I don't even know. I knew enough to get me in trouble,
right?
But yeah. So basically, you're able to kind of come back and get to a profile you want to get to, or a taste you want to get to, depending on the different apples, because they all have different flavors. It's just like a blended wine. It's the same process. You would just figure out how you want to do it from there.
So basically, you have different apples. They have different flavors, and you in your mind, or Don in their mind say, if I blend this because it has this flavors to that, I'm going to get this type of cider, and then you have to figure out the balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the orchard based, they're all orchard based, but the ones that we just use apple, which is the Celestial, Terrestrial, and Serendipity, those are ones that he is basically the control of. I mean, he'll ask us for our opinions in terms of where it's going or whatever, but ultimately Don has the ultimate authority to bring those wherever he wants those to go. I mean, with Serendipity, we know that it's going to be somewhere around 2% residual sugar. The other ones are dry, so it really depends on Don's palate on those. And the other ones are it's an iterative process. I'll come with some ideas, the rest of the team will come with some ideas, and then we just kind of, we spitball and we say, does this work? Does this not work? What we don't want to be is just ordinary. I mean, ordinary is all right for a lot of people, but it's not all right for us, and so we want to be something that's a little bit more special. So we see the trends. I mean, dry hopped is not something that's exclusive to us, but we kicked it up a notch by going with the Zappa hop, which is a wild hop from New Mexico, and Don just liked it because it was Zappa. It was named after Frank Zappa, and so Don's a drummer and he's a musician, and so he came to me and he said, "I got to use this hop," and I was like, okay. I said, I don't care what hops you use. I mean, I do, but I said as long as it tastes good overall, then I'm all for it.
Exactly,
and he knocked it out of the park with that. But even like our what we call our rosé, which is dark cherry and elderberry. With the apple base, that's not something everyone is doing. A lot of people will try different things to do that. We like to just take what is ordinary and make it extraordinary.
Exactly.
So
no, you've done a great job.
One of my favorite things about Castle Hill cider is anytime if I try a different cider, it actually is a completely different experience. It's not like, this is still kind of just tastes the same, but it looks different. Each one is a different experience.
Yes. Well, yes.
Of the cider.
I mean, the flavors are different. How they how they feel in your mouth or you swallow in the back. I mean, it's just and they are all different. That's what I'm saying. They're all so good that I'm saying to myself, you don't want to get rid of any of them, do you?
and we have those conversations every year. One of the things we are backing down on, and I'll say it on camera now so we can't back away from it, is the OG, which is and we're not going to go away with that, but right now we fortify that with an apple brandy. And, looking at the numbers overall, it doesn't make, apple brandy is very expensive for us to make, and to use it to fortify a cider makes it kind of unmarketable for us unless we charge like $40 a bottle. And I don't want to get there.
Sure.
But for us, we're just going to make a ginger cider that's a little bit lower ABV. So the same flavors will be there. It just won't be 11. Right now, it's like 11.3%.
Wow.
So it's a very stout imperial cider. So we just sit around and we start to talk about things, and different ideas come up. Some of them are very in the crazy world, and then some of them are in the crazy world where you're like, wait, we could probably figure out a way to get there. And that's the passion that you were talking about before, and that's the drive, and those are the things that keep you coming back. I mean, the daily operation of the business is something you have to do, but that other stuff is the stuff that keeps you engaged and keeps you wanting to push forward and do different things.
Exactly. Yeah,
thanks, Christy Perry, Art watching, Kevin DeDarmo watching the show this morning. Thanks for joining us. Actually, I have an audience question from Kevin Higgins, who asks, so what kind of role do you ever take inspiration from the history of the property, or I guess the nature of the property when producing the cider? Does it have a role in the approach to producing?
Well, I mean, the serendipity that we talked about before, the main apple in that one used to be Albemarle Pippin, and that was actually brought to the property by Colonel Thomas Walker as a gift from George Washington. So that was a basis of one of our that's our highest selling cider overall. And I'll say this for Don, the terroir is not as conducive to the growing of Albemarle Pippin as it once was. I don't know what's changing. I think it's the microclimate changes, as well as we haven't really changed where we plant it. but we're struggling to produce that, and a lot of other places are struggling to produce it. So we're kind of moving away from that.
Okay.
But going back, the original history was that we used that as one of our mainstays of our apples. And so, so we look at things that we can pull from in the area, or things that we can pull from locally that are fun. Some things don't work out that well, or else you find out that they're very labor intensive. We looked at like pawpaw, which is everyone talks about it like in cocktails.
You have to go actually foraging for that.
Oh, but and we have a few places where we can go pick it, but to actually juice that and to put it in a cider is a whole different world. We're up for a challenge, but we only have so many hours in the day.
Exactly.
But so kind of bringing that all back is we look at for inspiration wherever it finds us. So if it's on the property or if it's in the history, we don't shy away from it. It's something we embrace.
I have a quick question, and these things always pop into my head. But with regard to apple trees, I'll have a little more. Apple trees, do they have a particular lifespan? In other words, is it possible that a tree after, and I'm going to say these things because I don't know anything about apple trees, but after like 40 years, it doesn't produce as many apples as it used to, or do they just keep going forever?
Sure. Thank you.
I do not know the answer to that question, and Don can probably. We'll go ask Don about that. I know the first parts of that, and that is 3 to 5 years is usually how long it takes for them to start fully producing to their full ability. I don't know what the lifespan of an apple tree is, but I think it's pretty robust.
Okay.
I think it's probably more than 40 years, but I'm not.
I was just wondering because you mentioned the apple. It wasn't doing. I wonder whether it's because they've gotten really old and therefore you need to replant them, or there is something in the microclimate that has changed.
Yeah, I mean we've had some ones that are new that are within the last 4 to 5 years that some of them are doing well, but we've had whole rows. Like we planted like 18 to 19 rows of pippins, and probably we were able to harvest probably 10 of those out of good fruit. So it's we're perplexed by it. It's something that we work with like the cooperative extension agents and people from Virginia Tech. I mean everyone's definitely vested in the success of the apple.
Yeah,
it's at one time it was one of the highest cash products coming out of the state of Virginia. But it kind of fell off over time. But other things like tobacco and whatever, became larger. But back in the colonial days, cider was the table drink. And if you get Don talking about that, he'll talk about that it was a table drink as well as that was the stuff that sustained them, and rum was the thing that gave them the courage to explore further. So the silver bow that we have is kind of the amalgamation or the coming together of two different worlds, the explorer as well as the home.
That's fantastic. That's awesome.
Interesting. Yeah,
and it's always amazing. I love having you on to see. We learn so much about
absolutely,
the ways to view it and history. It combines I think so many things: the beauty of the land, a dedication to growing things the right way, sustainably, growing things that have a connection to Virginia.
Yes.
And just
creativity,
inspiration. So it's always such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's been wonderful. Yeah.
So
and I look forward to all these events.
Oh, absolutely. I think the two upcoming big ones. So it's going to be Wassail, which is this weekend.
This Sunday.
This Sunday, and then the Valentine's Day weekend.
Yes.
Pairing of chocolate from Deer Hearts with some beautiful cider.
Which is the weekend just before Valentine's.
The weekend just before Valentine's Day.
And that one, if we have some extras that, we don't sell, but, usually it sells out in the first weekend. But if we have some extra, we will sell them the following weekend of the 17th, I believe is
awesome. But I would say don't take any chances. Just go.
Go
the first
That's
weekend
right. Go early
and enjoy it.
And you, as always, you can find us on CastleHillCider.com or on Facebook. We're Castle Hill Cider as well. On Instagram as well.
Fantastic.
So
that's easy though, right? Castle Hill Cider.
Yeah, we can't wait to have you guys out again.
Oh yes.
Looking forward to it.
We're
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be there.
Thank you very much.
That's a lot of fun.
It's
a lot
always
of fun.
a pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you.
We'll go this way.
Oh, yep, works. Yep. Always such a joy.
Always.
Such
Yeah.
a joy.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have them both on.
Oh, thank you.
Exiting, sorry.
No, you're
No,
good.
don't worry about it. You're good.
This
You're
is-
good.
This is a family table conversation.
Absolutely, that's exactly what it
That's
is.
exactly what this is. It's always such a pleasure, and it's a joy.
No, it's fun. No, they have a lot of things going, which is great to see. 2023. I'm with Don there. I think it's going to be a good year. I think things are. Part of it is it's the human spirit, right? And I think the human spirit is I want to go out and I want to live, right? And to be able to do that, it means you have to participate with people. You have to see them, be with them, hug them, enjoy the fruits of other people's labor, enjoy the fruits of your own labor, the passion, drink some cider, eat some cheese, chocolate, whatever it may be, meals. I mean, that's all part of it. I mean, certainly in our culture, dinner time is the time for family. It's the time for discussion, but we always is like, what's for dinner? What's mom cooking, right? And it's always something different. I mean, she's amazing in that sense, right? But it's always something different, and it's just the flavors.
And it's not you sit down, eat 5 minutes.
No, exactly.
It's just the enjoyment. Like this is going to be a time in which we sit
exactly
and talk,
Yeah.
and just connect.
Yeah. And which wine do we drink that night, or what ciders do we have? Yeah, I mean, so it's all part of life. And like I said, I think 2023 is going to be a good year, and certainly in the markets.
Oh, we've started off beautifully,
which is rather interesting because you look at. I mean,
sometimes
it's only 11 days, right?
Exactly.
But and we saw this happen from 2020 to 2021. There was kind of reversal, and we're beginning to see that. I mean, literally every single sector of the market is up this year, meaning bonds, stocks, except for commodities. Last year, commodities were up about 17%.
Exactly.
This year, they're down about 3 or 4%. Everything else is up, 4, 3, 5%. But you see the reversal a little bit. The small stocks are up more than growth stocks and S&P 500. So it's a reversal already from last year. And this is what we always tell people. And the beauty of asset allocation, in other words, having a little bit of money in every single in sector, and rebalancing forces you, if you have a long-term plan, right, forces you to say, okay, this sector did very well, that one didn't. I need to reallocate. I need to sell a little bit of this sector, buy the sector that didn't do very well, and all of a sudden you see the next year or 2 years, boom, it's a reversal.
11 days in, right, at the end of 2022, you would have been sitting there saying, all right, I need to rebalance out of, and again, we say this end of 2022, start 2023, right, but this is a year-long process. It's not as though you must rebalance on December 31st or else, right? But you can already see it even in a short time period. You would have rebalanced out of commodities into basically everything else, which did poorly in 2022.
Just about.
And now you would already be seeing some gains from that.
Exactly.
Right? And this is not the end. It's not like you sit there and say, I missed these 11 days. I didn't rebalance in time.
Yeah.
It's over.
No,
it's a constant, It's a constant process.
Yeah, and as we always say, you're right. It's not. I mean, most people talk about it at year end because it's a topic. Okay, what do I talk about? Well, let me talk about what the markets did and what strategies we're looking for 2023. There's no such thing. I mean, the markets don't work on a calendar year; they work on a continuous basis, right? So when we're looking at things, it's like if the changes occur dramatically in July, and we're sitting there in August, we'll say, this is the opportune time to do it. We're not going to wait. It's like, no, we got to wait to December because it's not December yet, right? But the point being is that from a discussion point of view, and people begin to look at markets, and that's what they do, you can see that the change has already begun. Now, is it going to continue through 2023? Nobody 100% knows, but we know that eventually, it's like I was reading an article the other day, and obviously, as you know, I'm into bonds a lot. I don't know why. I'm just into bonds.
It's almost like you're
I must have come with
years.
that. So I was reading an article about the yield curve, right, and how it's completely upside down, right? The short-term rates are higher than long-term rates, and that's not normal. And so he said, eventually, we will get back to a normal yield curve, right? And he's absolutely right. In other words, is it going to happen this year, next year? Who knows? But the point is, it's going to happen because that is the nature of interest rates, right? The longer term you lend somebody money.
The future is always more uncertain than the present.
Exactly.
And the distant future is always more uncertain than the near future.
Exactly.
So that's the natural
Exactly.
way.
So you want a little bit more interest if you're going to lend somebody money for 10 years, you're going to have a higher interest than if you're going to lend 6 months, right? Because the chances of you getting your money back in 10 years declines a little bit at that point. There's more risk, right? So it's the normalcy of interest rate is for it to have short-term rates or a little lower than longer-term rates, right? So the point is, there's already strategies, which I know we've employed already, but there's already strategies there which you just have to take advantage of, right? And is it going to turn around this year? Maybe, maybe not. The chances are probably not in the first 6 months. Maybe in the latter 6 months it begins to happen. Who knows? But the point is, there's an area of the market that just from a perspective of tradition, how it should work, it's going to happen, right? And in reality, it's the same thing with all the other sectors. Sooner or later, small cap stocks are going to do very, very well, right? So you can't sit there and say, oh, they did lousy last year, I got to stay away from this sector. No, it's almost the opposite. They did lousy last year, it's time maybe to start thinking about reallocating some of the assets. So that's what I was mentioning before we were just on the radio, is that you have to have that structure. You have to create that structure that fits your goals, your needs, right? And just stick with it. Just be patient. Yes, tactically, there's always a few things you can do on a yearly basis. Tactically, go ahead and do that. But over the long run, you just want to make sure you stick to that and then reallocate. Yeah.
No, it makes complete sense.
So it's going to be a great year. I just feel it.
I mean, hey, we got a decline in prices month per month over
That's
month
right.
for the first time since this was the lowest inflation month to month has been since April 2020.
Right.
So, at least it's I mean,
yeah, but that was. I mean, yeah, let's.
No, what I'm saying is I'm not going to pretend for people.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still, prices are still 6.5% higher than last year.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pretend for people out there that everything's rosy. But at least prices didn't go up.
No, exactly. I mean, it's
over month.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see the fact that prices have come down, right? I don't think we're going to see the inflation numbers that we had in the previous. I mean, we're not going to see the inflation we had last year, but we're also not going to see the inflation we had before that, in the sense of really low inflation. I think
so.
Those years is going to be a long time, right? So I think we have to
we're not
get
going back
used
to
to
0% inflation anytime
So
soon.
I think we have to get used to inflation rates that are higher than 2% for a while, right? But it's nice to see them come down from the 9% level, which are unsustainable to any economy, in particular to the working, group people. I mean, that's just, people talk about wages going up. They didn't go up 9%. So it's nice to see that come down, and hopefully, food prices, because the only other thing that unfortunately came out is that shelter, food, services are still higher.
Higher.
So
that's the issue.
That has to come down a little bit more too before people can feel a little more comfortable saying, yeah, I can live with this. We had a really bad year. Okay, maybe this year's not great either, but we just can't have these kind of years with high inflation, multiple years, because that really is a crusher.
Absolutely. So there's hope. As we said, as Nick said, there's reason for optimism.
Yes.
In 2023, and we're seeing a couple of those silver linings even now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Xavier, it's been a pleasure as always.
Same here. It's been a lot of fun as always.
It's a blast. Next week will be fantastic as well. We're going to have on Janine Aquino from Aquino Baron Consulting, as well as Christina Monfalcone from local CPA.
Christina,
so we got some great local minds that are going to be joining us.
Wonderful, terrific.
Next week. So that's going to be a blast. Thank you to Andre Xavier watching the show this morning. Another fantastic local entrepreneur.
Big time, absolutely.
And really just a great inspiration for the community.
For all of us. Yes.
So it's just pleasure. That really appreciate him watching the show this morning, and thank you for everyone who liked and shared, and Kevin Higgins for your fantastic question. Always appreciate everyone interacting with the show. You're the reason we do
here.
this.
Absolutely.
You were literally the reason that we are here. So appreciate it. Always a thank you to I Love CVille Network, Judah behind the camera, Emergent Financial Services, Castle Hill Cider, the Gym CVille, Craddock Serious Insurance, Aqua CVille Hand Car Wash, and Forward Adelante. Thank you to all of you. We look forward to seeing you all next week. But until that time, as we always say on the show, hasta mañana. Thank you.